Hello, all my wonderful friends and family out there in the wonderful world of real estate. I wanted to put together this video today just to kind of share some thoughts that I have that I think is important to put out there in the real estate community for all of our agents and brokers that are having this unique experience of dealing with a market that is as heated as it is. We're seeing the lowest inventories we've ever seen. We've seen the lowest interest rates we've ever seen. Um, Houses are not staying on market very long. We have the lowest days on market that we've ever seen. So we have this perfect seller's market storm that's happening, and houses are just simply in high demand, which means uh, we're seeing behaviors of overbids. We're seeing full contingency releases on properties. We're seeing escalation clauses. These are things that, if we go months and months back, this was not the routine behavior that we would see from the buyer side. Um, but that's not exactly what I was going live here to talk about today. It's with regards to when offers get submitted to listing agents. So, in in recent transactions, I've seen lots of offers coming in, and that's a blessing for the seller to see lots of offers. But we're also seeing, along with those offers, we're seeing cover letters, very beautifully written cover letters, very elegant uh, cover letters. But sometimes these cover letters, in order to paint a more human perspective of the buyer and really express what that particular buyer's interest is in the house and put a face with the name, they're also doing something that's something we really, as real estate professionals, need to be very cautious with. Is they're also revealing with these photos and documentation information that are deemed protected classes. I've had cover letters that reveal information about a buyer's sexual orientation, familial status, age, ethnicity. Um, and as a broker, I have to do what I can to protect my seller. Um, those items, these are items that we just don't use as a basis for considering an offer on a property. You can imagine the legal ramifications that could follow with a real estate professional that judged an accepted offer based off of any of that information. I mean, there's laws specifically addressing these kind of things. So when I see these cover letters that come in, and if they contain any of that kind of information, that cover letter is never going to be presented to the seller. The offers in and of themselves need to stand on their own financial merit. That means if you're going to make an aggressive offer, that you make that offer, the best, strongest possible financial position that you can for your buyer, and do what you can with terms. Short escrows if that's something that might be appealing to that particular seller. Long escrows if they need a place to possibly go or relocate. That's a possible advantage to a seller. Uh, Contingency removals. That's another thing that could really sweeten a deal. We're seeing behaviors where very aggressive buyers are putting in offers that are doing full contingency releases. A deal that's not contingent upon an appraisal, even if it is an FHA deal or a VA deal and needs to have an appraisal, they're willing to perform at the price that they're offering. Those are extremely strong offers that could be put on the table. But I wanted to put it out there that um, I don't believe that offers are coming in with any malice with having these wonderful, beautiful cover letters that are showing pictures of families and uh, you know their newborn babies or whatever they might have in the cover letter. But it does unfortunately reveal things that we cannot use as a point of consideration to make a choice as to which offer is going to be the accepted offer. So, I would prefer as a listing agent, if you're going to put together a cover letter, um, that the cover letter contained information that was meaningful to the seller as a tool that he can use to actually pick between very competitive offers, which means financial criteria. Uh, you know, who's the lender, what's the lender's contact information, what's, you know, what kind of loan product are they in? You know, any of this information is going to be much more useful to a seller than a family photo, right? It may not paint the more human side that we miss out on a contract, and that's unfortunate, but that is also something that we can't use as a basis for consideration on an offer. So, you know, I would prefer to see, you know, a nice cover letter that expresses interest and shows financial ability to perform, however that might be written, and whatever documentation might follow in behind that to help prove that the buyer is capable of performing to the offer that was written. That might mean proof of funds, DU approvals, whatever you got. That would certainly be much more of value when presenting offers to a seller, because unfortunately I can't pass on those beautiful cover letters with family photos that expose protected class information. That's just not something that we can do to our sellers. So I know in the past this has been, you know, culturally accepted practice, and there's a lot of people that do it, and there's still some people that are actually training agents to do this. Just know that this is not something that we can use as a basis for acceptance of an offer. And if you are engaging in that practice, you know, might be a time that you want to consider changing up how that cover letter looks and maybe base it more on financial qualifications, more so than highlighting anything that might reveal protected class information. So this is something that I don't think is going to change. I think it's going to, you know, continue to happen over time, and slowly but surely this practice will probably eventually die out. But in the short term, we're still seeing this kind of thing happen. In fact, I've got several offers that just came in this morning that contain this kind of information. And so what we typically do when we're presenting offers, especially in this market, all of your criteria goes into a spreadsheet, and decisions are made based on looking at comparisons between just the data and the details. Those cover letters never get passed on. So if it helps you save a little bit of time in putting together those cover sheets, I'd much rather see great financial details on the particular buyer that would certainly help the seller make the strongest, best financial decision he can for the property that he's selling. On another note, something else that we're also seeing as far as tactics and strategy and behavior in today's market, kind of a process that we see, you know, sometimes it's deemed called buying the offer, meaning the offer gets submitted with a very high, very attractive dollar amount on it. However, that offer might be subject to other conditions like an appraisal. And once you engage in that particular transaction and you have an open escrow and the appraisal comes in short, which we're seeing, you know, appraisal values are not necessarily coming in low, they're coming in at market value. And we're seeing that people are willing to pay over market value for properties right now because there's just very limited inventory. So your appraisals aren't low, they're market, right? Now, some of you may have different opinions about that. I'm sure some of the appraisers out there would probably agree with me. You know, and then there's always the rogue chance that you have an appraisal that's not good. Now, that's completely an outlier. That's not what I'm talking about. But for the most part, what we're seeing is appraisals are coming in at market value, and we have a heated market where people are overpaying for properties just so that they can get a roof over their head, and that's understandable. You know, the need for housing is very intense right now, but throwing an offer in that is very, you know, has a very high dollar amount that looks like a tremendous overbid, and then to go back and reduce the price with an appraisal that's going to come in at the lower dollar amount, kind of causes a problem, right? So it's always the seller's choice as he's going to accept the offer or not accept the offer, right? So the ultimate decision lies on the seller, but know that some sellers are looking for this kind of behavior. And while the higher dollar amounts might look tantalizing from, just on black and white paper perspective, that, a lower offer that has a contingency release for appraisal, or maybe has a nice proof of funds to support that they can perform at the dollar amount that they're offering, may actually be a better, more lucrative deal for a seller than something that is going to end up trying to negotiate down based on a lower appraisal outcome. So, the problem then is, if that deal falls apart, the seller's starting over from scratch day one to reboot the whole transaction again. And that is not going to be in the best interest of the seller. So not all the time for your buyers that are coming in, if they're concerned about competing against high dollar amount offers, hopefully the listing agents are vetting those offers out and trying to make sure that the deal can perform at what's offered. But in the event that they're not, it would be better, in my opinion, to put in an offer that is solid and strong, and takes it to the limit of the buyer's point of comfort, of where they can feel good about performing and not necessarily have an issue with battling these appraisal outcomes. So just my 2 cents. Some of you agree, some of you don't agree. I'm not putting this out here really necessarily for debate. Just something that I'm noticing as potential practice. Every brokerage is going to do the things that they want to do and the way they want to do it. But these are the things I'm looking for. These are the things that my sellers are looking for. And hopefully that can work to help the agents out there that are working the buyer side pretty intensely right now. I know it's been tough for you guys. You guys have been getting hammered with having to show lots of properties and putting out lots of offers and just getting skunked because you're getting beat out by terms or higher prices or whatever it is. And hopefully this message will resonate with a lot of you that are kind of running the gauntlet on the buyer side right now. I host buyers as well. It's maddening for me when you're taking a buyer out and you're 30 houses deep, and every call that you put in, we have 10 offers, we have 15 offers. I've had calls where properties had 47 offers on them. Do you even jump in the car to go see it? I mean, if you got to compete with 47 other offers, some of them may be good, some of them may be bad. There's going to be a curve as to where the sweet spot is. How do you stand out? And so this kind of comes right back to my initial point, is that cover letter that comes in. Well, if you're putting in that information, that protected class information on a cover letter, that's probably not going to help you on the buyer side. It just needs to be that you got to be as competitive as you can with the financial tools that you have for that particular transaction. And then another note. Yesterday I had a call from 3 different agents back to back, and this is one that is deeply concerning to me. 2 agents that I've done multiple transactions with, working the buyer side. They called to vent. They're a little bit frustrated, and one of them was a broker. Third one was a broker. Frustration comes from the agents that are out there that are listing agents that seem to have a certain air about them or attitude when talking to buyer's agents, and just really being anywhere from rude to just downright nasty to other agents. And that's not really the behavior that's acceptable in this industry. We all work together. We work side by side with one another. We have good transactions with one another. Sometimes we have bad transactions with one another. But rest assured, the community is not that big. We will cross each other's paths again. So I don't understand the just level of rudeness and disrespect that I'm hearing from other agents that I'm working with other listing agents. the market is hot. Listing agents are getting overwhelmed with offers and questions and showings, and some of them are even having to pause showing profiles in the MLS just to take in the amount of data and content that's being thrown at them. So I can understand the listing agents are getting frustrated or overwhelmed even with the amount of content that's coming in. But this is a good thing for the sellers, the agents that have listings. This is a fantastic situation for you. There's never been a market that has that kind of behavior to it that I've ever seen since I've been into it, nor anybody that I know in this industry has seen over the long term. So it's a little bit of a getting used to a set of circumstances that we haven't seen before. You're going to have to crunch those numbers and process that data and present those offers as they're coming in, even if there's a lot of them. But that shouldn't put you in a position where you're not, you're not treating your fellow real estate agents with dignity and respect. So, for those of you that got listings right now, and if you're one of these people that is just not given the time of day to the buyer's agents, look, their struggle's real too. They're getting skunked everywhere they go, and they're also getting, they're not getting the time of day from the listing agents as well. So it's we can do better message. I really hate hearing from other agents that they're getting blown off, or they're being treated disrespectfully, or with getting general bad attitudes from listing agents, because those of you that are fortunate to have listings in a market that is got a very low inventory, you might be the listing agents that are still listing agents when the market shifts and there's very high inventory, and you're going to be begging those buyers agents to bring you whatever they got. The tables will turn at some point. The industry goes through cycles. You can look up the data yourself on Google. We see market trends shift and move on almost a cyclic scale. So we just happen to be in a very intense seller's market right now, and at some point this is going to turn into a very intense buyer's market. I'm sure when the pendulum swings one way, it's going to swing back the opposite way with just as much intensity. So remember, you get from the universe what you put into it. If that's what you're doing to these buyers because you have the high and mighty listing at the moment, that may not always be the case. So, hopefully some of you heed my words, and if you have been less than pleasant with your buyer's agents that you need to work with, maybe this is a time to change that perspective or attitude a little bit. I really don't. I'm always here to support any of my fellow real estate agents and colleagues that are out there. And when I hear, and it's not like I had one person call, I had 3 in one day, and that was just one day that I'm referring to. This has been a constant trend for weeks now that I've had people calling me just saying it's been so tough to even have a meaningful conversation with a listing agent that's just not completely rude to them. So please don't do that. Fortunately, none of the people that have talked to me are any of the names that I know from our local community. So I think we're good in my region, but there's people from outside of our area that have been not the best actors. So this is Dustin Bynum, your friendly neighborhood real estate broker. I'm located here in Hesperia and working the high desert market. Where I'm all over from Southern California to Arizona. So, we see different things in different areas, and you will not get that from me. If you call me directly, you want to talk to me about one of my listings, provided I'm not on another call, I will take your call. I'll spend as much time with you as you need. If you want to talk about details, you want to talk about where a transaction might go, call me. I'll spend as much time as you need to do what you need to do to get that offer in and represent your buyer the way you need to represent them. So until then, everybody, this is Dustin Bynum signing off. I am the broker and operator of the Bynum Group, and we're here for you if you should need anything in the future. Until then, folks, Dustin Bynum signing off. Take care.